Welcome back, listeners and viewers, for that matter, to This Day in Sport. You're listening to nevalleynews.org. You may also be listening to us on NEVN FM on Spotify. It is Tuesday, September 19th. I want to apologize for last week. I had a terrible show last week. I'm not sure what happened. I was discombobulated. I was in a tizzy. Things didn't go well. Right. We had technical difficulties. I was all thrown off. I want to apologize to the panel members from last week and to our viewers and to our listeners. Actually, we didn't have viewers last week because we didn't have video last week. That was one of our failures. So
got corrupted.
Right. Something happened. Technology betrayed us. So we're going to try to do better this week. In the studio this week, I am Ole Olafson. I usually forget to say that. We also have Mike Brown here. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. Ethan Cohen is sitting next to him. Doing great. Thomas Bonvehi is also with us today.
You finally got it right.
I finally said Thomas's last name right. I've been struggling with this since the beginning of the semester. And we have our guy Marcus Reichley on camera. Say something, Marcus.
Hey guys.
Nice. Marcus, if you will remember, was on the podcast last semester. It was not called This Day in Sport. It was called The Flip Side.
The Flip Side.
Geez, I already forgot.
With Sophia Linkus and Marcus.
Yes, it was. And anybody else who wanted to be on it, but they didn't.
Cue the soap opera music
Right.
for that one.
Preston Grace is going in and out of the photo. Hi.
You gotta get food.
There's a package of open potato chips now. That'll sound great.
Yeah, please refrain.
Yeah, go ahead and rustle that around underneath your microphone. This is the podcast. If anybody remembers, which I'm sure we all do, the podcast is in two parts. The first part of the podcast is the 2-minute warning, where we go around and talk about stuff that's important to us for 2 minutes. Hopefully it's important to you as well. Then we take a very short break to hear from our sponsor, northeastvalleynews.org. And then we launch into the big part of the podcast, which is called the main event, which I also last week forgot to say, amongst the various other things. So let's get started right away with the 2-minute warning. We're going to start with Mike and then go to Ethan and then myself. And then Thomas is we're going to save the best for last. Okay. Go ahead, Mike. You can start us off.
All right. We're going to talk about things in football that annoy me. Number one, wide receivers catch the ball every single week. I see guys, you run the route, you get open, and then what? You drop the ball every single time. I'm tired of watching guys losing the scorecard against the judges because they're getting the ball beats them down 3-0. It's ridiculous. You're an NFL player or a high-level college football athlete. Get open, catch the ball. It's a part of the job description. Number two, stop running the ball out of the shotgun in short yardage situations and goal line situations, and then turn around and looking like the confused Pikachu meme every time it doesn't work. It's ridiculous. Man up, get under center, turn around and hand the ball off and go Walter Payton over the top. It's getting ridiculous. Everybody's getting soft and everybody's getting weak, and it really gets on my last nerve. And I'm checking out on that because I don't have a lot more time for that.
High formation for the win.
Wow. Are you sure that those are things that bother you, Mike? Because it didn't sound like you were really.
I disagree about the shotgun.
You disagree about the shotgun thing?
That's
do. Okay.
I think that
if you got Jalen Hurts, sure, it makes sense. But not everybody's built like a freight train.
If you get a running start, it's better.
You get a running back, third down running back. He is elusive. He has time to read the blocks. It's not
the Canada. You know what?
And then Micah Parsons is lined up at fullback. Dunzo.
Is it a healthy Derrick Henry or healthy Nick Chubb?
I'm talking like maybe a Christian McCaffrey. You put him in shotgun, right? You hand it off to McCaffrey, but it's not an obvious or it's not an obvious run because you're in shotgun. So they don't.
Listen, in the Canada Football League, they don't do any of that goal line business. They just run the quarterback sneak every time.
Well, the Eagles are allowed to push their quarterback into the end zone, which it's been working for 2 years. The NFL hasn't done anything about it. So,
92% time,
well,
time.
yeah.
That,
All right.
Just signed Jimmy G. Bro's a
Okay.
beast when it comes to QB sneaks. Did you see him on the Niners? He did like every QB sneak perfectly.
All right. Let's move on to Ethan's 2-minute warning. I'm going to actually time you, Ethan. Here we go. Start.
Okay. Last time I did run on about Zach Wilson. Anyway, so I want to go to college football. Shedeur Sanders. He's one of the top quarterback prospects in the country. Colorado's getting a lot of hype right now. But I think this game where he did struggle a bit against Colorado State, I think this was the game that races stock the most. I mean, you take a look at the first half, he struggled, he threw a pick, he gets sacked a lot, but he still stuck through it. And what guys like Jamarcus Russell, Zach Wilson, what do they have in common? God-given talent, but they didn't have the mental capability of being a quarterback, which is why they didn't pan out in the NFL. But you see that Shedeur came back from adversity and ended up winning the game.
Baby Zach.
yo,
Baby
Eagle for
Zach.
that.
Okay.
Oh my god.
But like, seeing that mental capacity from a quarterback is honestly what scouts look for too, not just the God-given arm talent.
Well, there's a lot to playing quarterback. I mean, there's it's more than just running the ball. It's more than just throwing the ball. It's more than just reading the defense. I mean, you have to be able to do all those things plus more. So, I mean, I'm not well suited to do a lot of different things because I don't process information like all sorts of bits of information at once. I have a very slow working mind. So that's why I had such a bad show last week, I think.
You're really beating yourself up about
Hard work.
I know.
Hard work beats talent every single time.
I know.
Talk about a downer. Yeah.
Thomas, can you let's give us oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go next. I'm so sorry.
You're already
See, I'm already flummoxed. I'm going to start timing myself right now. Start. It's time once again for college football crazy talk. This week in college football, there was not a ton of huge upsets, but there were upsets nonetheless. Unranked Missouri defeated number 15 Kansas State 30-27. This was a really close game. It was a super exciting game. Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook threw for 365 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Mizzou kicker Harrison Mevis won the game on the last play of the game with a 61-yard game-winning field goal. And that was after they got a 5-yard delay of game following a timeout, which seemed like it was going to spell disaster for them, but it didn't. Unranked Florida defeated the 11th ranked team last week, Tennessee, 29-16. This was another super exciting game. Thomas is going to talk a little bit more about it during his 2-minute warning. Trevor Etienne, who is Jacksonville running back Travis Etienne's younger brother, had 23 carries for 172 yards and 1 TD. Southern Alabama defeated Oklahoma State. That's a bit of an upset. Sacramento State came into Stanford and beat their old coach Troy Taylor. That's a little bit of revenge. Colorado update. They did win again this week, 43-35, but in double overtime. I have 24 seconds left. What to watch for in week 4? Number 4, Florida State is going to take on Clemson. Always a close game.
Beating.
Colorado, this is going to be a true test for the Buffs. Colorado is going up against number 10, Oregon this week. That's going to be an interesting battle. Number 15, Ole Miss going up against number 13, Alabama. My timer's going to go off.
Colorado, that's going to be a good test for them, right?
It will be.
Maybe the toughest test.
Maybe a reality check, huh?
And I'm going to finish up with another game that should be spectacular. Ohio State is going to go to Notre Dame. They are respectively number 6 and number 9. We'll see how that pans out.
I think Colorado's lack of depth is finally going to get exposed a little bit this week.
If they had a hard time with Colorado State, imagine. Wyoming also held their own for 3 quarters against number 4 Texas, and then Texas finally realized, okay, we got to win this game.
Thomas, you got 2 minutes.
All right.
What you got?
Well, obviously, Tennessee last year, maybe they were going to be the Cinderella. Then TCU said, hold my beverage, and they came up short. Maybe this year was going to happen. They welcomed Florida. Well, no, Florida welcomed them, and 29-16. But it was the ending. Micah Maskua and Kamal Haddon at the end. Lots of fighting. I mean, late hit on the QB after he takes his knee. And then like players just start fighting. But at the end. Near the end, I mean, Masco and Haddon, they got their helmets on, but it looks like they're in position to just box it up. Like
they both had their fists up.
They had their
Rock 'em, sock 'em, robot vibes.
I feel like that would hurt the hand more than the head punching someone's helmet.
Yeah, but
the trick is you got to palm it.
Yeah, the thing is,
I tried that with walls before. It works.
This is why, even though I don't watch it, I love hockey. It's just like let fights happen in sports. Now I know. It's not the best look, but like, listen, if you can listen, I mean, sports are physical, and yet if people get mad at each other because they're physical, it's just like, then what's the point? Like, you got to let the players in every sport, maybe besides golf, be physical. Like, I mean,
that's what a majority
soccer,
of fans
football, baseball. I mean, baseball, you throw 95 at the hitter, dugout clears. All right. Argentina, Netherlands World Cup, the bench is cleared. All right. In hockey, they just go at it. They don't care.
70s baseball.
Yeah. But in football, it's like
70s.
Yeah. In football, it's like, oh, you threw your hand awkwardly. That's a taunting penalty. Like, come on. It's just despised.
Mike, can you hand that little foam pad over to Thomas? That's the
slamming
the hand pad. So we don't.
Last year, Northeast Valley News went to Coyotes game, and we asked hockey fans what's the number one thing they want to see more in the sport, and like by far, it was more fights.
Yeah.
But 90% of people
Everybody's
see
so
only
funny.
watch it for knockouts. Like people are barbaric, dude. That's all they want to do is see people get hurt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless it's their own guy, then they complain about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's the 2-minute warning. Marcus, we're not going to put you on the spot for a 2-minute warning. I'm sorry, I ran into the camera a little while ago. That was not a good.
Actually, it was Thomas slamming.
That was not a good scene. He's caused an earthquake. We're not going to put you on the spot. If you have anything you want to discuss real briefly for the 2-minute warning, feel free.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Which NFL team do you guys think is the most in trouble right now? Because a lot of teams aren't looking like how they're supposed to look.
It's a question.
Let
2-minute
ride.
warning?
Off a cliff.
I agree.
I don't know if it's the Giants anymore. I mean, if I would have said the Giants, maybe the Cardinals.
No, it looked like the
Preston?
Giants woke up, but it was against Arizona. So let's
Right.
let's hold off on this.
I think the
parade.
Preston. I think Preston. The Cardinals are in the worst shape of any team right now.
Cardinals are.
But
Yeah,
we
he
knew
agrees.
that's gonna happen.
Bengals started 0-2 last year, and they went to the AFC Championship. game.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
exactly.
saying.
That's why I'm not worried
true.
about that.
How badly is Joe Burrow's hurt? Because he's injured, isn't he?
I don't know.
Day
The,
to day.
No,
the
he's
Chicago Bears look pretty bad right now.
Dude, Joe Burrow's
But,
always
like-
hurt, but he has a fresh cut like every day.
They have a bunch of good
Yeah.
players, though. Chicago seems like they have a lot of good players
Yeah,
this
but
year. They just got to get it.
Justin Fields isn't taking another step like they thought he would. They brought in
He can't throw a
DJ
ball.
Moore.
DJ
They brought in
Moore.
DJ Moore.
Yeah.
He can't throw.
I mean, he's got and
He's
everyone's
another Ohio State quarterback that wasn't ready to play at the NFL level. He needed to sit.
Most
They didn't
Ohio
sit.
State guys don't pan out.
That's why
With
I'm
the
not-
Emmett Smith, or not Emmett Smith,
Uh,
You talking about choice?
Ezekiel, the running back for Dallas,
yeah.
isn't he?
No, he's
Zeke?
in,
Feed
in,
Zeke?
He's in New England now.
Right, but he was an Ohio State guy, right?
Yeah, but
yeah,
he
but
was, he,
Pan-
was,
Ezekiel Elliott.
he was terrific until he
So
got
he
paid.
panned out. Right.
Years were incredible. Then Jerry Jones threw money like he always does, and
He spent too much time in Cabo.
Yeah, I think Zeke's just living it up, to be honest. He's getting that
Yeah.
money, and he has he's not
Who
trying
knows?
to injure himself too much anymore.
Who knows?
Bill Belichick might be on fraud watch. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we're
It's hard to say. I guess
okay.
it's hard to say which
I've
team is in the
never
worst
knocked
shape
out
right now.
Bill
Cardinals
Belichick.
probably.
I don't know.
close.
Maybe it's
Did
Mac
y'all see Bill
Jones.
Belichick throw the challenge flag?
Yeah, he threw
I
it so
did.
zesty.
That was so.
He
funny.
pulled the challenge flag out of his socks, like some straight hood style stuff, and then threw it on the ground in the most petty fashion possible. It
He
was the
dead
most
stared
beautiful
that
thing I've
ref.
ever seen.
Like he was drawing a boot knife or something.
He saw that ref and
Yeah.
he took it personally. Like the ref's down there, like trying to get something, and he's just throwing the challenge.
All right,
Like
that's a
like
2-minute warning. We want to save as much time as possible for the main event, so we're going to go to our commercial spot at this point in time and then move right into the main event. Here we go. Commercial spot now. Looking for a fresh start or making a difference in your community? Join our family of reporters at nevalleynews.org. Work on our digital news site by registering for JRN 210 News and Media Productions at Scottsdale Community College. See you soon. All right, we're back. We're back with more of This Day in Sport. We're going to move right into the main event of the evening.
We've got to get a bell ring for that.
Ding ding. We just do a
Bruce Buffer impression.
in the past we've just done the things with our voice, just ding ding. You know what I mean?
We do a Michael Buffer.
We
or
don't
Bruce Buffer?
have a big budget for this. Today we are going to launch into the age-old argument of whether pro sports or college sports are best. Now, we are in football season. Both college and pro football are going on at the same time. So many of us are going to probably refer to college football or pro football, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Who wants to go first on this? We didn't decide this in pre-production because I got in a hurry to write the commercial spot. Let's just start over here with microphone number 1. And Mike, why don't you go ahead and throw out your thoughts on whether college or pro sports are better?
I started watching the NFL before I started watching any other sport. So my passion for it developed as a child. I got into college football a little bit later, mostly when my ex-stepdad came into the picture. So I picked up on it. Plus, I lived in a college football kind of mecca spot. But the NFL has always been the game to me just because it's the best of the best, the highest level talent. The games tend to have more parity. Even the worst teams can hang with the best teams on any given Sunday. The games are generally more enjoyable. College football, there's a lot of just erratic, if you're playing a bad team, you beat them 75-3. It's just, I don't know, it gets ridiculous. And I do appreciate the passion of college football, but the fan bases are just equally as delusional. And it's the same song and dance every year talking about how great the recruiting class is and how great you're going to be just to go out there and get rolled up and smoked. So it's just one thing after another. I've always preferred professional sports because I like seeing the most elite talent play at the highest level.
Okay. Who else is in the same boat as Mike with
I'm in the exact same boat. This is Marcus.
Are you?
I'm all NFL.
Hey Marcus.
I've never really watched college, to be honest, except for Arizona State.
Okay. How come you've never been interested in college
I'll
football?
watch it if it's on, but I just don't keep up with it. I'm not gonna. I mean, they change like every year. You know
Why is it just too much to keep up with?
Yeah, and then NFL, all the same reasons Mike said, or it's like best of the best. Even the worst team can beat the best team, and you keep up with the same guys over their careers. Whereas in college, the next year it's a whole new roster a lot of times.
The fan base in Norman really kind of turned me off of college football a little bit too, just because, I mean, when you live in a college football powerhouse town, Tuscaloosa, Austin, Ann Arbor, any of these places where Southern California, any of these elite places. And then it's the same thing every year. You bring in, like, Oklahoma brought in a new 5-star quarterback, and it's the same stuff. Yeah, he might be better than the guy that's starting, but stop telling the coaches how to do their job. And I'm tired of hearing about how the ball just comes out different when he throws it. And you have to say different. You have to take out the extra E.
Hey, that's a great point,
Different.
Different.
In person, college football is the best. In person.
Oh, man, this is the best recruiting class we've ever seen in our entire lives.
You talk about
We got
fan
5
base.
stars all over the place, brother. I mean, it's like a half a step away from a Hulk Hogan promo from the 80s. It's ridiculous.
Ain't nothing like college football.
Who else
Right, they came
likes
to Hill.
pro football on the panel? Who else is
I
going?
love pro football, but I'm in the college football boat.
I'm in the
Okay.
football boat. All
All right, go shoot. Tell us
first of
some
all,
other reasons
I've
why pro
seen-
football is best.
I've seen about 2 college games ever. All right. So
Okay, so you have very limited
very
exposure. Okay.
But I mean,
Exactly.
all right.
How come? But no,
first of all, big fan of the NFL, but I also keep up with soccer, and that in itself is really hard because there's so many leagues. There's considered the big
right.
five
Talk
leagues,
about keeping
transfers.
track of stuff. The
It's
soccer
like-
thing is ridiculous.
I mean,
I
you
know,
got
right?
Wonder Kids. It's like the 5-star recruits. This guy's different, and then he's scoring like 3 goals and 5 assists, and he's like, I want him benched like in the next year. Or
So what are let's get back to the topic at hand. What are your reasons for liking professional football better than
Well,
college?
One of the things, one of the biggest difference is the draft and recruitment. With the recruitment, it's like this guy's 5-star. He's gonna be the next guy, and you could say the same thing about the NFL. But the NFL, I mean, the amount of time that teams take just to look into, and you don't have to go that far. You have to go back. I'd say 2021 draft. I mean, Niners, they were looking at Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. They were looking at everyone. They should have drafted literally anybody but Trey Lance. What were they thinking? But that's just my opinion. But
I still think that was a split between the coaching staff and the front office, but that's never came out.
But I mean, the way that teams like look, and that's why players like Malik Willis and Will Levis have like fallen off the draft board. Brady Quinn, Aaron Rodgers.
Malik Willis plays in the. Oh no, that might be a
both
different
Will
Malik.
Levis and Malik Willis play for the Titans.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Went to Liberty.
Liberty.
They went to
Yeah.
Liberty.
Libbity bibbity.
Yeah.
Like there's so many questions. It's like who's gonna
Very
take,
raw
and then when it
talent.
comes to defensive players or offensive players, it's just like who's this team gonna take? Because you're looking at scheme fit and you're looking at talent, but most like teams love a player that fits their scheme most of the time, unless that team is very desperate. Chicago.
And they still draft guys based on talent.
Yeah,
Again,
and sometimes
Chicago.
it takes so long to figure out who fits in what scheme. Like Brock Purdy is kind of a mid quarterback, but he fits so well in that Niners scheme, you know. And he was the last pick in the draft.
He was. He's Mr. Irrelevant.
Half the quarterbacks in the league would fit in that system, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good
Hard
point.
disagree.
Ethan, I'm gonna
That's
throw some a couple of things out why I think college sports is better, and maybe you can come off of that with some other equally interesting ideas. I think if we would have had this discussion several years ago when we first started podcasting at northeastvalleynews.org, one of my main things would have been the purity of the game and the fact that it's not been corrupted by money and stuff, which is off the board now because of the NIL and different things, and the transfer portal being a wide open black hole of college football where everybody jumps in and disappears. So I mean, we can't
Spencer's time is now.
I can't say that the game is pure and that the athlete has is loyal to their school anymore. But for me, the number one thing that makes it better to me is fan interaction. You're not going to see professional sports fans as engaged as college sports fans, I say. Look at the fourth quarter jump around during Wisconsin games. If you play any kind like Sandstorm or Zombie Nation or any kind of really cool tune like that during the fourth quarter where all the fans are all amped up, the whole entire stadium is going to completely come unglued. I mean, it's going to be outrageous. So I think the intensity of the fan experience and the fan involvement, I think is the first thing for me that puts it over the top. The band playing, there's so much more feel of excitement at the game because of the fan interaction.
I agree with you, Ole, but at the same time, I never heard a college football conversation where they knew like half the players' names. You know, like in NFL, like if someone scores, it's like
because it's not about the players in college. It's about the school. That's
right.
the
It's
thing.
about the school and the game
Yeah.
and the emotion. What do you think, Ethan? You're in the same boat as me with the sport thing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, my biggest thing with college football is every game matters. You talk about like, say the Seahawks losing game in week 1. Well, it's just week 1. Michigan State loses in week 1. Their season's over. So like, I just think like the fact that every game matters as much as the next game is just like so cool. And then you go into the rivalries, like there is nothing like watching a Michigan-Ohio State game. Like just like the pure hatred towards each other is just like it's alarming.
It's off the scales. It's way, way more dramatic than in professional sports to me. Just the rivalry, the emotion, the raw emotion of all of it is, I mean, it's like, it's almost overwhelming.
yeah,
sometimes.
but you see like attempted murder in the Packers Bears game.
Well, yeah.
If you look at the crowd,
No, I don't know that I've ever seen a more violent game than the Territorial Cup when ASU and University of Arizona. There's guys getting stomped on. There's fights going on. It's ridiculous.
Well, just like Ole was talking about with the NIL money and stuff, though, changing the purity of college football, because it's basically become a Wild West situation. And what you're talking about with the every game matters structure, that's going away too, because we're about to add more teams to the playoff, and they're basically going to turn it into the NCAA football's version of
That's
the
true. It is.
Wow.
It is getting a little bit.
They're expanding to what, 12 teams?
It's become the
12
NFL
teams,
junior,
yeah.
and they don't run it near as well as the
Yeah.
NFL. They're trying to run it like
Plus-
the NFL, and it's not working because they let things get out of hand.
every year, like it's like, okay, Cardinals are gonna be bad, or this team's gonna be bad, or the Chiefs are gonna be good, Bengals are gonna be good, and then every single year, a few teams that like were expected to be Super Bowl contenders or do really well. They just crash and burn. I
Mhm.
mean, Broncos last year and maybe this year. I mean, you're 0-2. Come on. You have Sean Payton
Let's
as your
ride.
coach. You don't have an excuse anymore.
Packers a couple years.
I don't want to talk about it.
But
Which got E?
you
And-
talk about how the expansive playoffs is going to get rid of that, but I don't think it will because there's 40?
Yeah, there's so many
college
teams. Yeah,
Right,
there's
but
so
only
many
gonna be
teams.
about 60 schools in the Power 5 or the Power 4 now that are going to be in that situation that are going to get considered. Because I don't, even if FCS teams go undefeated, I don't think they're going to get in.
But you're acting like there's going to be a 3-loss team in the college football playoffs.
There could be if they upset
Well, there could be.
somebody in
They'll
in the
probably
conference
not. They'll
championship
probably
game.
not make it to the championship game, but we don't know that. That's another thing about college football that is sort of similar to the pros. You don't know what's going to happen. You really don't.
And
I mean, look at week 1. Clemson got beat, got knocked off. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I think as a side note, the pageantry of college football also is something you don't see in the pros. The Sooner Schooner,
Yes, sir.
Mike, the Sooner Schooner, the Seminole Warrior riding out on a horse with the lance, the Colorado Buffalo, okay, galloping across the field,
The Georgia
Bevo
Bulldogs.
for Texas, the War Eagle circling above the stadium. You don't get that with professional sports. You get somebody ringing a bell or like sounding an alarm.
The Seattle Seahawk.
Do they have a Seahawk?
what's
Yeah,
the-
they had a Seahawk,
the
and they
Lambeau Leap?
he fly
Sourdough Sam, the 49ers.
Well, that's not like a covered wagon rolling out onto the field before the game. I mean, that hypes everyone
No,
up.
the Vikings have the Gallarhorn, but that's
Oh,
about
the
it.
Vikings. They have
That's
the
right.
best.
That's right.
Yeah.
Detroit has a
The
Hey,
Jets
the skull.
have-
Hey, look.
The skull.
Hey, the skull chant's stupid. I hate that. I can't stand
Come
that.
on, it's nice one.
I mean, the Jets
I
have
know
like
what it's for, but I don't know. I just think it's corny.
and then we got the Lambeau Leap. I'm not biased at all.
I also like the
You
large.
also have cheesehead masks.
I also like the large number of games that are available with college football. In pro football, you have a game. Well, now you have 2 games on Monday night sometimes, but you have a very limited number of games that you can watch, especially if you don't have the red zone or the NFL package. With college football, you can watch games all stinking day long to your heart's content. And if you don't like the one you're watching, you know what? If it's Alabama versus University of Tennessee Martin and they're getting stomped, go to a different game. So I think that's one of the things. And also the ability to watch whatever kind of game you want in college. In college football, you want to watch a defensive game? Great. Watch a Big 10 game. If you want to see a bunch of scoring and no defense, great. Watch a Big 12 game. You know what I mean?
Flag football, baby.
If you want to see both, if you want to see amazing athletes, amazing defense, amazing offense, big time programs, SEC, baby. We all know this.
Or you can also watch the Big 12 if you want to watch your team win 11 to 12 games every year and get stomped out in the playoffs. Boomer.
All right, we're going to wrap things up today. I believe we are out of time. I don't know if we've solved this ages-old argument about whether pro or college sports are
It's not going to be
the
solved.
best,
why
but
it's
I don't think it's never going to be solved. I think we should discuss it once every year, annually. We should have the annual pro versus college argument.
I do think if college football gets some more structure with the NIL situation, I'm all for the players making money off of their likeness and stuff. I think that's cool. But basically turning it every offseason into free agency in college football is going to be a bit of an issue.
Washington is going to win the division. That's my hot take.
Marcus,
Message.
let's team up on this last thing. I'm going to say goodbye, and then you give us the social media information, okay? You're a social media guy. We would like to thank everyone across America for listening to us and the world for listening to us today. We've had a great time arguing whether pro or college sports are better. I'm Ole Olafson, and we would like to wish you a very good week. And by all means, be safe out there. Marcus, give them our social media.
To follow our podcast and our mini shows and our many articles on local Valley News, you can reach us at Northeast Valley News. That's on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, pretty much any social media handle you could think of. Again, that's Northeast Valley News. Thank you so much.
Do it.
Thanks, guys. We're going to take off our headphones and then go on.